Hi students, welcome to Digital Arts 1. We are going to get started with Unit 1. This is just a basic overview of computer basics that everybody should know. So although you might be able to get around really well on your computer, there might be some terminology here that is new to you. So let's just dive into that real quick. All right, so if you come into the Content tab, in the table of contents, Unit 1 says using your hardware and software. Just going to click on that. You'll notice that within the primary folder, there are subfolders in there. You can click on subfolders to go directly to anything that you're specifically looking for. You can also scroll right down the page and find all of those folders. Whew, there are a lot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on 1.01 Getting Started and I'll look at the lesson introduction. In this lesson, you'll learn about the course hardware and software requirements your computer must meet to run this course. You'll also learn about operating systems and how they relate to the course content. Objectives: describe computer requirements, identify different operating systems, move through the course, and switch between windows. Vocabulary getting started. 1. Operating system, OS, a set of instructions which manages all hardware and software on a computer. Example, my operating system is Mac OS 10.14.2. Taskbar, a bar that shows you all of the programs and other windows you have open on your computer. Here's my taskbar down here at the bottom. You can switch between open applications using buttons on the taskbar. So I could click on these and open the applications. Window, a section of a computer's graphical display that shows the program currently being used. This is my window. You are looking at it. All right, hardware, all the physical parts of a computer that can be seen and touched. So that's like your mouse, the CPU, printer, all of those things, your laptop itself, that's your hardware. Software, the code that tells the computer what to do. So all these great programs that you have on your computer. You've got Microsoft Word, you'll be using Inkscape in this class. PowerPoint, so many more. Application program, a type of software with a specific purpose, such as sending and receiving email, creating text documents, or browsing the web. Application program. I used a word processing application program to write my English essay. 7, open source, a program whose code is available so people can improve it or modify it to suit their own needs. Linux is an open source operating system. Intuitive, normal, or easy to understand based on previous knowledge or experience. For example, the application used commands similar to many other programs so that it was intuitive and easy to learn. The irony here is that Inkscape is not an intuitive program. A few features of it are, but many you really have to struggle to learn. And I'm going to help you with that. A closer look, computer requirements. For software to run properly, it must be installed on a computer that meets specific computer requirements. Computer requirements are the hardware and software components you must have as part of your computer system. At a minimum, they include a compatible operating system, a processor that runs at a certain speed, enough memory or RAM, which is access memory. It's like when your brain is trying to process a whole bunch of stuff at one time, there comes a point where there's only so much you can do at once, right? That's what RAM is. Enough storage space. Some software programs have more requirements, such as microphones, speakers, or fast graphics cards for gaming. Computer requirements. For software to run properly, it must be installed on a computer that meets Did we just read this? Okay, I think one of their links is broken. Requirements for this course. In order to run this course, you will need access to a computer that meets the following minimum requirements. Microsoft Windows 10 operating system or compatible system. You should all have that. Every student in our school gets that for being a student. So if you're not running on that system, you can email me and I can give you the link that will help you find that. a 1 gigahertz or faster processor, at least 512 megabytes of memory or RAM, at least 1 gigabyte of available hard drive space, a common word processing program such as Notepad or Microsoft Word, and internet connection. Inkscape. Inkscape is the vector art program you will use to create art in this course. At this writing, Inkscape is only available for computers running the Windows operating system. The same release is now in development for Macintosh systems, so it may be available for use on Mac OS systems in the future. I feel like that's saying if you have a Mac, this isn't going to work for you. But I think I've had students using Macs, but maybe I'm wrong. You will learn how to download and install the Inkscape art program in Unit 2. Adobe Reader. You may also need a software program that can open and read PDF documents. PDF is a file format that presents documents consistently on different types of computer systems. Many computers come with a free PDF reader, such as Adobe Reader. You can get Adobe Reader for free. You just go to download Adobe Reader and download it. If you do not have a PDF reader program, you can get a free copy. Yay! Tip. Next paragraph. Only download Acrobat Reader from the adobe.com website. There are many fake sites designed to trick you into thinking you are downloading and installing a real version of Acrobat Reader. In reality, you might end up downloading and installing malware or other software that can put your system and data at risk. So just look in that HTTPS area up here and make sure that that definitely has adobe.com. Okay. Okay, looks like we have a practice checkpoint. You can only run this course on a computer with Windows 10 installed. Choose the answer. True. What is a computer requirement for running a software program? Choose 4 correct answers. Enough memory, compatible operating system, fast enough processor speed, and enough storage space. Question 3. You need at least 1 gigabyte of available hard drive space on your computer to run this course. Operating systems. An operating system, or OS, is the system software that manages all of the hardware and software on a computer. It helps the physical parts of a computer communicate with each other and makes sure the software programs can complete tasks. Each operating system has its own look and works a little differently from other operating systems. The most common operating system for personal computers, laptops, and notebook computers are Windows, developed by Microsoft Corporation, and Mac OS, developed by Apple. The most common operating systems for smartphones and tablets are Apple iOS and Google Android. A common open source operating system is Linux. Open source means that the software code is available for people to improve or modify for their own purposes. Windows 10. The operating system used for this course is Microsoft Windows 10. If you use a different operating system, the steps for some procedures may be different. Ask your instructor if you have questions about any of the procedures. Checkpoint. Question 1. What is a common operating system for personal computers, laptops, and notebook computers? Choose 2 correct answers. That would be Windows and Mac OS. What operating system is used for this course? Windows 10. Switching between windows. You can have many application programs open on your computer at the same time. Each program runs in its own window. The one you are working on is called the active window or the active program. While you work in this course, you will probably have to switch from the course window to another window and back again. For example, you might switch from the course to Inkscape. The taskbar is a bar at the edge of the screen that displays a button for each window you have open on your computer. For example, down here at the bottom, these are the programs I have open on my taskbar. You can select a program's taskbar button to make it active. For example, if you have Inkscape open as well as your browser displaying this course, select the Inkscape button on the taskbar to make that window active, or select your browser's button on the taskbar to make this course active. Another way to switch between windows is to use the Alt and Tab keys. Press and hold the Alt key on your keyboard. Keep holding the Alt key down and press the Tab key once. This displays a menu of all your open windows. Continue holding the Alt key down and press the Tab key again to select a window from the menu. When you release the Alt key, the window you select will be active. Or you can also just hit Alt Tab together quickly and it'll toggle back and forth between the last two windows you were active in. Pressing multiple keys. Sometimes the course instructions will tell you to press more than one key on your keyboard at once. When you're supposed to press two keys at once, they will appear in the instructions with a plus sign between them. One example would be the keyboard command in the previous slide. It would be written as Alt-Tab. As another example, Control-Z means that you should press and hold the Control key as you press the Z key. Control+Z is the keyboard equivalent of the undo command, which you will learn about in Unit 2 of the course. Moving through the course. The course is designed to be intuitive, which means you should be able to figure out how to use it without much instruction. For example, to open a topic, select it in the table of contents of a navigation bar. To move to the next page, select the right arrow. To move to the previous page, select the left arrow. If you have questions about moving through the course, ask your instructor. Checkpoint. Question 1. What is a method of switching between open windows? Choose two correct answers. Press and hold Alt, and then press Tab. Or select a different Windows taskbar button. Question 2. How can you open a topic in the course? Select the topic in the table of contents. Summary: in this lesson, you identified computer requirements and different operating systems and moved through the course and switched between windows. In this lesson, you will learn to create and organize folders on your computer where you can store the files that you download or create for this course. In this lesson, you will learn how to set up your computer to use throughout this course. You will learn how to change the way you view and organize the files on your computer and how to display or hide file name extensions. You will also set up a course folder. Objectives: make files and folders on a computer. Make a course folder. Set up a computer to show the list folder view and file name extensions. Vocabulary: file, an object on a computer that stores data, information, settings, or commands. For example, I wrote notes from my school project in a text file on my computer. Folder, a digital container used to organize files and other folders on a computer. Example, Tammy created a folder where she could store her digital artwork files. File name extension, the suffix at the end of a file name used to indicate its file type. For example, Microsoft Word uses the extension .docx. Inkscape uses the extension .svg for scalable vector graphic. Desktop, an IT term for the first level and the default display of the graphical user interface on a computer. Example, Dave set up his course folder directly on the desktop of his computer. This is your desktop. It is where there's no program open, it's just your desktop. And look, I have tons of programs and files saved on my desktop. Organizing files. On a computer, a file is a collection of data that stores data, such as text, sound, video, or a picture. To keep your files organized, you put them into folders stored on a device such as a disk drive. A folder is a digital container that stores files and other folders. This is similar to how you might organize your schoolwork by putting individual papers and homework assignments inside a class folder. Folders are used to create an organizing structure or directory for storing your files. So in here, this is only showing folders. So we have some resources that we're going to be installing, and these are all of the folders that have the files inside them. The files inside of these are going to be photographs. And photographs usually have the extension JPEG.jpg. File Explorer. All computers have a software program for finding, viewing, and working with files and computers. In Windows 10, this program is called File Explorer. On a Mac, the program is named Finder. Complete the following steps to open File Explorer in Windows 10. Well, you can open the Start menu here, select all apps, scroll down and select Windows System and select File Explorer. Or tip, File Explorer is right here on the bottom of the screen. So ding, there's my File Explorer. And this is what it looks like when I click on it. So I'm in my pictures. This is where I save folders for images that I'm saving, artwork. Using File Explorer. Complete these steps to use File Explorer. You can quickly move from one location to another in the file structure of the File Explorer by selecting that location. For instance, to find a downloaded file, select Downloads, and then find the file. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up my folder and just show you. Here's where my downloads are. So I'm not going to click on that because I might have some FERPA-friendly things. But if you don't have your computer set up to automatically ask you where to save things when you download them, they will automatically go into your downloads folder. I can provide a link to you to show you how to get your computer set up to override your download settings. You should have a C drive or a D drive. I use my D drive. And I also use my picture folders. And when I make videos, I use my videos. So yeah, here's an example. I have all these videos for different classes, my D drive. I have to click on that again, but essentially that's going to have like all of my files in there. And like it said, it's a directory. So be thinking about how to name things like, you know, I'm in the year 2019-20 right now, and I've got different folders specifically for 2019-20 in there. I've got my digital arts folder right here, and if I click on that, it's got all of my files in there. Actually, it's got more folders in here that you'll notice I have saved by the years. So I save my content and I can go back and find things easily for different blocks that I've taught this class, because sometimes I want to go back and find some old resources that I've used. Using dates is a great way to store things, but always be really specific about your names, because you can search things up using this search bar. So if you were looking for a specific exit ticket or a project that you worked on, so if you save it with a very specific name, you can type in some words from that name and it will pull it up for you, so you can find files that way. So I'm just going to show you how to make a new folder. So if I'm in pictures here, I can go to, let's see, I'm going to spread this out a little bit so I can see the whole thing. Up here at the top, you see that new folder? I can click that and it will create a new folder, and then I'm going to have to write the name. So this would be Digital Arts 1 Sample, right? I'm going to hit enter, and I can double click on that and open it up. Another way to make a folder is to right click and go new folder. Okay, so now I have another new folder, and I could call this, you know, Unit 2 Work, something like that. And so look up here, this is kind of showing a breadcrumb trail. Thank you. So my Unit 2 work folder is inside my digital art sample folder, which is inside my pictures folder. So if I want to go back, I just click on that. Oh, I'm already in it. I can click on pictures, and that'll take me back to the pictures folder and everything that's in there. You could also create a folder on your desktop by right-clicking on your desktop and saying new folder. So if you want to have your digital arts folder right on your desktop, there you go. Easy for you to find, right? Okay, I'm going to right-click on that and delete it because I don't want a digital arts folder on my desktop. I like to have my File Explorer with all my folders in it. So I'm going to try to find my Digital Arts 1 sample folder, and it's already highlighted, but notice that everything is alphabetized. So I'm going to just double click on that. And you know what? I'm going to name this by just clicking once, twice. So it's not a double click, it's a once, pause, twice. Or you can rename by right clicking and going rename. Okay, I'm going to call this sample files. All right, I'm going to fill this up with some files, and let me just show you how I can do that. So I'm going to open a Word document right now. Okay, and it's a sample Word doc. I'm going to go ahead and go File, Save As, and I'm going to browse, and I'm going into my pictures. I'm going to find that Digital Arts folder, Digital Arts 1 sample, going into sample files, and it's sample Word doc and is the name of it. And it got that name automatically because those were the first words that I typed, but you can name that anything you want. So I will call it sample Word. But I want to also introduce you to naming conventions that I want you to use in my class, and these would be good naming conventions to use in your other classes too. You know how you put your name on a paper when you're in a regular brick and mortar class, and you always have to put your first and last name in the corner and the date and all of that? Well, same thing here. So put your first and last name at the beginning of the file name, okay? And then the name of whatever the assignment is. So this is sample Word. So start with that naming convention, name at the beginning. And the reason why is because when I save all of your files, it will alphabetize them by your name first, so they'll all be together. I'm gonna click. Oh, look it's got save as type. So I can change the type of file I want to save this as. I do want to save it as a Word document, but you can save Word documents as PDFs. And we introduced PDF a second ago. A PDF document can't be altered by the person that you send it to. For example, if you create a resume and it's got all this great formatting on it, if you send it as a Word document, when the person that is hiring you opens it up, their computer might read the formatting differently and it might not look so awesome on their end. So if you save it as a PDF, it literally saves it as a picture of your document. And when it shows up in anybody else's inbox, it's going to look exactly the same as it did on your desktop. So that is a really good reason to use PDF. However, since you can't change a PDF before you save a PDF, you want to save it as a Word document first, because then you can go in, I'm going to close it out now, then you can go in and edit it, right? So if I edit this, edit, 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 okay? I decide to make some changes. I'm going to save it and then close it, all right? Now, oops, I didn't mean that. I wanted to also show you that I can, now that I have the Word document saved that I can edit, I can save as, and you just check up here to make sure it's saving it in the right place. I know it is because I'm looking at my breadcrumb trail. I can save it as a PDF now, okay? Can minimize the size if you want to, if you're publishing it online. So I will do that. I'm going to minimize the size. And it says I can open that file after publishing. I can do that if I want to or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Save. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to my File Explorer and look. In addition to my Word document, I have that PDF file. I can tell by that little icon. Now here's what I wanted to show you as well. Look at it says the type of file here. It says this top file is a Microsoft Word document, and it says this Adobe Acrobat document is here. So you also have other options. Look at this view button up here. Click on that view button and you get all of these amazing options. And because I don't have a very long list of things, it's cutting off some of my view of the files. But look, I can look at them as, whoops, extra large icons. All I had to do was hover my cursor, it changes it. I can view them as large icons. I can view them as medium icons. Small icons, I can view it as a list. That's what the list looks like. There's not much information. I can view it as details. So here's where it gave me my type and everything. I can view tiles. And I can view content. Tells me things when things are modified, okay? I'm going to go back into details. There's another thing I want to show you. I want to be able to see the extensions. We talked about some extensions. Let's look at the extensions. Aha, now I can see those file extensions and I can see that that's a Word doc. I can see that that's a PDF. Does that make sense? Okay, so where did I find that? In View, File Name Extensions show that. If I unclick that, it's not going to show them anymore. Okay, back to this riveting content, where to store your files. The main storage drive on a computer system is where the operating system and its related files are stored. On most computers, it is the hard drive where you also install application program and save your data files. And it is called Drive C. Most computers have more than one storage location. You might have more than one internal hard drive, or you might store applications and data files on an external hard drive, a flash drive, or a cloud storage drive. Whenever the instructions in this course refer to the local C drive, you know what? You just use whatever it is that you created for yourself. So if you created yours on your desktop, that's your C drive. If you created yours in your pictures, that's your C drive, okay? So you have a system that works for you, but just know that K-12 is telling you to save it on your C drive, which is totally fine. You can do that. And you do whichever works best for you. Okay, so I want to demonstrate to you that you have this search feature. Let's say that I am trying to find my Rachel Girot sample Word file. Okay, I'm just going to type those words in there. You'll notice at the top, it's telling me that it's searching. It's going through all of my files. It's not going to find it in the Windows C drive, I just realized. So I go, oh, duh, it's not in my Windows C drive. It's in my Pictures drive. So I need to click on Pictures, and I'm going to go ahead and put Rachel Girot sample Word. And look at, bam, popped right up, the PDF version and the Word version. That's the power of naming your work. And one more thing, if you know specifically what folder it is in, it will make the search a lot faster if you can narrow it down that, hey, I know that that was in my Digital Arts 1 sample folder. And so let's see if I look how fast it comes up now. It's not coming up at all. How hilarious. Okay, I think my RAM, my random access memory, was slowed down. Let's try it again. Ah, there we go. See how quickly they came up? Because it was right there in the digital arts folder. Now, if you don't like where something's at, like let's say that something is in your downloads, I'll just go ahead and grab something in here. I'm going to right click on it and I can either cut it, which is going to copy it. And when I paste it someplace else, it'll remove it from this location, or I can copy it. If I'm really feeling secure about myself and I know exactly where I'm going, I'll cut. But if I'm not feeling secure, I'll just copy so that I know that that version is still there in the downloads. So I'm going to click on copy. Shortcut for copy is Control C. And then I'm going to go back into my Digital Arts 1 sample, and I'm going to right click in a blank space and paste, or I could have just done Control V. And there it is. I moved that from one location to another. Okay, so this is kind of cool. Setting a default folder view. Once you've customized your folder view, you might want to use it for all File Explorer windows. To do this, apply the current view settings to all your folders. So I guess what that's saying is that if you're really into having your extensions and all of this and you wanted to save that, you could make it so that that is your default view. And to do that, you'd select the View tab, select the Options button, select the Change, and select Apply to Folders. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm constantly moving around and changing things because sometimes I want to see the extra large icons because if I've got a JPEG and I want to look at the picture of it, then so I just am always toggling around for what I'm looking for. All right, checkpoint. Question 1. In File Explorer, what is the command to change the folder view to list? Well, it should be view list. Remember, we go to view list. Question 2. Where is the file name extensions checkbox in File Explorer? It is it in the layout group? Is it in the extensions group? Is it in the show hide group? Or is it in the view group? Let's see, go to view. It is in the show hide group. Ding, ding, ding. So if you haven't already, go ahead and go into your File Explorer, pick a place where you want to save your digital arts folder and create a digital arts folder, okay? You can do it on your desktop like we talked about by right-clicking New Folder and then name it. You can just, if you want to put it in your pictures, you can do that. Remember up at the top, there's this cute little New Folder button that you can click on and then name it. Summary. In this lesson, you found files and folders on your computer, set up a computer to show the list folder view and file name extensions, and you made a course folder. Good job. All right, 1.03, set up a browser. In this lesson, you'll learn how to set up your web browser. You will also learn how to zip and unzip files and why it's a useful practice. Objectives: zip and unzip files, identify reasons for zipping and unzipping files and folders, and set up your web browser. Check your file size. Every file has a file size measured in bytes. 1 byte equals about 1 character. And when I say character, like the letter C here is a byte. A kilobyte or 1 KB is 1,000 bytes. You can check the properties of a file to see the file size. In Windows, you can use File Explorer. Open File Explorer and navigate to a folder where you have data files stored, such as documents or pictures. Choose View Details pane. The Details pane opens on the right side of the window. It shows properties such as the file name, type, and size. Let's do that. So View and Details, and there they are. It shows the size, 11 kilobytes, 12 kilobytes, and notice that PDF is the largest, 33 kilobytes. But let me tell you, in the grand scheme of life, these are really small, so no sweat, very tiny. Okay, I've just thrown some other types of files in there just to kind of give you an idea of different file sizes. So I've got a ping file. If I go into view extra large icons, as you can see, a ping file is an image file. You can actually see it. It's a picture. It's like a JPEG. I also have a JPEG file down here, which is why I do like having extra large icons sometimes, because then I can see the work. I can see these other files, though, are not picture files. This one right here says it's an SVG file, but look at this picture. It's telling me that's an Explorer file. So what that's meaning is that it's going to open this SVG document in Windows Explorer, which I don't want it to do. I want it to open it in Inkscape because Inkscape is the program that we're using, and a .svg file, a scalable vector graphics file, should be opened in Inkscape where you can edit it. Okay, and Explorer doesn't know how to read the file very well, so it will also mix and jumble things around and it won't look right. So if you ever notice that you're opening a file from File Explorer and that's happening, it's ending up in your internet browser and not Inkscape, the quick trick to that is to, I'm going to open Inkscape right now, is to open Inkscape. And once you have Inkscape open, woo, getting a look at it, you're going to go File, Open. Okay, so I clicked on libraries because I know that that is where my pictures folder is, and it's easy for me to get to my pictures. And I just have to go in and find that Digital Arts 1 sample folder. And there's that SVG folder. If I open my SVG files from inside Inkscape, aha, there it is. Okay, I'm going to click the number 5. 5 is a shortcut I want you to learn right now. 5 at the top of your keyboard, not your number pad. 5 at the top of your keyboard will make it so your image will fit perfectly into the window no matter what size it is. It looks like I'm going to go ahead and say layer, and all the way at the bottom of the layer menu, I'm going to click layers. Gonna bring up my layers over here. You guys are gonna learn about that. I'm gonna slide that down so I can see, but for some reason, this is locked. I'm gonna unlock, you have a lock button. Dog is not on the page, and I don't know why. I'm gonna click save to free my RAM. And I want, maybe I have to be on the layer. I wanna grab that and move that, and I can't. I don't know why. How weird. Oh, it was on the background layer, that's why. So, yeah, layering is really important. This right here, I'm gonna go ahead and, since it's selected, I'm gonna go X to cut it. I'm gonna create a new layer, and I'm gonna call that text, and I'm gonna go Control V to paste it. Whoops, and I grabbed the wrong thing. I need to be in the text layer to grab that. Okay, now I've got dogs on the text layer, so I can lock my other layers. And if I try to make any movements, it's only gonna move dogs. Okay, so anyway, that is an SVG file. And every time you go File, Save As, it is going to save it as an SVG file. So it's really crucial that when you're done working on a project, before you close it out, that you go File, Save As, if you haven't already. Or if you've already saved it, which I can tell I have because it has a name up here at the top, I just have to save it. File, Save. And there's a shortcut, Control S. So I want to show you a little trick of how you can get it so that instead of having this SVG file open in Explorer, I can get it to open in Inkscape every time. But before you do that, you actually are going to have to install Inkscape. So let's go ahead and start that process right now. You're going to go www.ink, I-N-K, Scape, SCAPE .org, and then hit enter. Perfect. Here's the Inkscape website. And it says Inkscape 0.92. All right. And I'm going to just click download. And I already have mine installed. So when you click download, oh, never mind. I'm not sure what's happening. Scratch that. Go down here and look for what version you have. And I don't know why it was saying that you can't use a Mac operating system. Sometimes I don't understand K-12's content. Sometimes it's a little confusing. But yeah, you can use Linux, Windows, or Mac operating system. So I'm using Windows, so I will click here. Actually, I'm going to click on this download. Oh, maybe I'm in the download menu. Here we go. Okay, and you have an option 32-bit or 64-bit. And here's the deal. If you have a newer computer, 64-bit will work fine, okay? If you have an older, clunkier computer that's not as, smooth, crashes on you sometimes, 32-bit is probably what you want to get. So I'm going to click on 64-bit myself because I know that my computer's new. It's not an oldie. And wow, it's got all these new options that it never had before. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and go installer.exe format. Okay, so that .exe is an execute. It's going to execute the installation. So we're downloading the installer right now. We're not. Oh my goodness. Okay, so once you do that, see, I have my computer set up, so anytime I download something, it says, hey, where do you want to save that, right? Okay, yours might not, but this is fine. Downloads is perfect. So it says Inkscape I'm going to go ahead and click save. Now I'm not downloading I'm not installing, sorry. I'm just downloading the installer. I haven't installed it, and you can see on my computer, whenever I download a file, it shows up at the bottom of my browser. For some other people, I've seen them show up at the top right. If you have a Mac, it's down at your bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And now the execute file that we've downloaded is going to start running the installation. Pick your language. It's already been installed on my computer, so I don't need to do that. But you are going to continue with next, next, next. It's going to automatically save it in your program files. You don't need to worry about that. And then click install. I'm not going to do that because I already have it. After the installation is complete, you're going to have to click finish. So hang out here and wait and click finish, okay? So if you need to pause this video right now, go for it. And I'm gonna go ahead and quit that myself. But okay, pause this, finish, and then come back. Okay, so the reason why I wanted you to install Inkscape is because I'm going to have you change this so that this shows an Inkscape icon instead. I'm going to just right click on any of my SVG files like this, and I'm going to say open with, and it doesn't show Inkscape. So instead, I'm going to say choose another app. And once again, it's not showing it. I can go more apps and I can start scrolling and go, I wonder if Inkscape's going to show up. It's not showing up. My computer is not very smart. So I will look for another app on this PC. I just clicked that hyperlink. And I know that my programs are in the Windows C under P for programs, right? Maybe. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, there's Inkscape right there. Okay, I'm going to double click on Inkscape. And let's try doc. Nope, that's not it. Etc. No. Lib. I'll figure this out. Don't worry. Well, I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to try this Inkscape.exe and see if that does the trick. I'll click open. And let's see here. Now I'm going to go ahead and try clicking on that. And I'll click OK. Okay, I think it worked. And so when I go back, let's see, I'm going to go back one and open it up. Okay, so that made a one-time open for me. Let's make it so that every single file that I save as an SVG is an SVG file. So I'm going to go to open with again, and I'm going to click, I don't think I want to click on that. I'm going to say choose another app, okay? And I'm going to click Inkscape Vector Graphics. And this time, instead of clicking OK, I'm going to say always use this app to open .svg files. So I'm going to click on that. All right, are you following me? Now OK. Look at that. Now that SVG file has an Inkscape logo. Sweet. And if I'm in my File Explorer now, I can double click on that and it will open it in Inkscape all day long, okay? And you can X these out. All I did was hover my cursor over that and it brought up all those versions, okay? And you can close without saving if it's just a junk file. But if it is not a junk file and it asks, do you want to close before saving? You absolutely, yes, save, 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 okay? Don't want to lose your work. All right, so here's a GIMP file. That's another class, that's image design and PDF. Okay, so let's go back to viewing these files now as details, okay? just because I just kind of wanted to exemplify for you that the ping file was a picture file. It's 125 kilobytes. Now that ping file is from the digital arts class. So Inkscape, the scalable vector graphics program, these files aren't like photographs. They don't have a gazillion pixels of different colors. They're usually using pretty solid colors. They're usually cartoony. And let's say this is that is a really small file, okay? The SVG file itself is even smaller, okay? And the GIMP file, that is for taking a photograph in there, like an Adobe Photoshop, and manipulating that photograph. It's a larger file. Photographs take up more space. And the JPEG, that is a photograph and was created in GIMP, manipulated in GIMP, is the largest of the files because it's got layers and it's been manipulated and it's got tons of pixels. And all right, so that it looks really good. And we can see that again if we move to those extra large icons. You can see all the different pictures in there, whereas the ping file is pretty simple. It's just like red and black. And yeah, that doggy has a few filters, but it's not as complicated as this picture image here. All right, we've got some vocabulary here I just want to take a quick look at. Web browser, a software program that lets you view and interact with web pages over the internet. I use Chrome. Some people use Firefox. Some people use Windows Explorer. JavaScript, a programming language used for adding functionality to web pages such as menus, sound, and other interactive features. JavaScript allows me to add interactive features to my web page. Byte, a measurement of file size. 1 byte equals 8 bits or a single character. File compression, to make large files smaller in file size so that they can be sent over the internet. Tom used file compression to compress his large file into a smaller size. File compression utility, a program which turns regular files and folders into compressed files. Example, make files smaller in file size with a file compression or zip utility. Compress, to reduce in size. For example, compress the file so that it will be easier to send over the internet. Zip, to compress files or folders. Zip the file so you only have to upload one file. Zipped file, a file that has been compressed to a smaller size, sorry. Sue created a zipped file of her project document so she could send it to her teacher. And in this class, I do not want you to zip your files. Do not zip your files and send them to me, please. Unzip, the process of uncompressing a zipped file. This is also called extracting. To open a file that has been zipped, you need to unzip it. And this is something that confuses a lot of students, but probably because they just don't watch the video. Extract, another term for unzipping or uncompressing a zipped file. When you unzip a folder, you extract all the files and return them to their original sizes. Web browsers. A web browser is a software program used for viewing and interacting with web pages. You are using a web browser to view a web page right now. The web page is this page of the course, and the web browser is a software program you're using to view it. And actually, if you are watching this video, the YouTube is the web page. Choosing a web browser. Two of the most popular web browsers today are Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox. Some other web browsers include Safari and Microsoft Edge. It is typical to use one web browser, but it is not uncommon to have more than one installed on a computer. If you do not know what browser you are using right now to view this course, look in the taskbar for the identifying button. The instructions in this unit will use Google Chrome to complete the tasks. If you want to install either of those, you can just go and Google or use those links that are in your content. Tip, only download Chrome from the official Google Chrome website and Firefox from the official Mozilla Firefox. So always be looking for a group like chrome.com or firefox.com, or they might have org. Running JavaScript. JavaScript is a programming language used for adding functionality to web pages such as menus, sound, and other interactive features. If you have a browser that does not support JavaScript, you will need to update it so you properly access all the materials required in this course. Checking Chrome. To check your version of Chrome, open the Chrome window, select the Customize and Control Google Chrome button in the upper right corner of the window. Select Help, and then select About Google Chrome. Chrome automatically checks to see if you're using the most current version. If not, follow the prompts to update your software. And you can also follow those directions to check Firefox. Just click pause. Allowing pop-ups. Many web browsers block pop-up windows from opening. For this course, you must set your browser to allow pop-ups from the K-12 website. So it says here to select customized and control. I'm going to go ahead, select advanced, site settings, pop-ups and redirects, set the allowed blocked option. To the right of allow, select the add button. Okay, so sometimes, I don't know if you've ever noticed, you might be on a website and all of a sudden it's like you're clicking something that you should be able to see, or it's just not coming up. Sometimes at the top, it'll have like this alert and be like, pop-up blocked, and you can follow the directions. Or also you have this little security button that's up here on your browser, and if you click on that, you'll notice that you can allow flash, right? You can allow pop-ups. You can allow automatic downloads, okay? And after you're done with those settings, to apply those settings, you have to reload or click this refresh button, okay? Once you've refreshed it, then the graphics that are on the page that weren't working for you or the site itself, you'll be able to click and it will work, okay? But it is saying that somewhere in here you can go ahead and change your settings. If you are wanting to do that, just go ahead and let's see, this is in Unit 1.03, set up your browsers, and you can find those instructions here if you want to figure out how to do that, or just pause the video right now. Checkpoint time. Question 1. If your current version of Chrome or Firefox does not support JavaScript, what should you do? Well, according to the text, it says to update your browser. Yeah, I usually just come up here and do allow flash. That works for me. But yeah, I guess update your browser. I never do that. Okay, so we're going to talk about zipping and unzipping files and folders, but we're not going to be zipping any files and sending them to Mrs. Girot in this class, okay? But you are going to have to unzip some resources. The resources are just a bunch of photographic images that you're going to be using in the program with the lessons. And because there's so many of them, they zipped them up into a file so that you could easily transfer them to your computer quickly, unzip them, and have access to all of these wonderful images. Reasons to zip or unzip a file. File size refers to how many bytes of data there are in the file. 1 byte equals about 1 character. A kilobyte, or 1 KB, is 1,000 bytes. You know this by now, right? Some files are too large in file size to be easily sent over the internet. They might take a long time to send, receive, upload, or download. Some email programs and internet file servers have file size limits and block any file over that limit. That's because a large file might take up so much of the system resources that nothing else can be done. Large files cause problems in other ways too. They take up a lot of storage space on your disk drives. To make files and folders smaller, you can zip them. Another term for zip is compress. Zipping the file or folder reduces the file size so that the file is more manageable. Even if the files are not too large, there is a good reason to zip them. You can zip multiple files into one zipped file. It is easier to upload, download, or email one zipped file than it is to do the same task with many files. But the thing that you have to consider is that your end user is going to have to know how to unzip them. And that's a skill that not everybody has. So sometimes sending somebody a zipped folder is actually just making it so that they're confused and they can't open it. They can't find the stuff that's in there. Um, and the other thing on my end is if you zip your work and send it to me, it creates like 3 additional steps for me, and it already takes forever to grade things. So please don't ever zip a file and send it to me. A file compression utility program converts regular files into compressed or zipped files. You can zip just one file, more than one, or an entire folder of files. Windows comes with a file compression utility called WinZip that you can use through the File Explorer. You might have a different file compressions utility on your computer. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a Mac user, you're going to have to go to the Mac store and find a program, an app that you can install on your computer that will unzip files. So I'm sure you can find a free one, don't worry, in the Mac store. But just a heads up to you Mac users, you need to get a file compression utility app. Zip files. To zip a file, you again use the File Explorer. First, locate the file and select it, then select the Share tab, select Zip. So I'm not going to be zipping anything, but if you would like to zip files for other reasons, feel free, but please don't zip anything to me. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a practice here on this folder right here. It says to click the Share tab and then click Zip. So boom, there it is, it's zipped. Now notice I can double click on it and I can still see those files. So you're thinking in your mind, oh, that's no problem. The files are there if I send that. Well, it is a problem because watch this. I'm going to open up my Inkscape and I'm going to attempt to open up one of these files, okay? So we're going to go File, Open, and we're going to go back and find that folder. So that was Digital Arts 1. And wait a minute, I can't find it. I don't get this. I saved it in there. Where is it? Let's go back to File Explorer. I mean, there it is. Why can't I see it? Because it's zipped. This is what I'm telling you. Yeah, I can see it, but whoever received my zipped file, if they don't unzip it, they can't see it. So let's go in here. If you ever have a folder that has a zipper on it, you have to right click on it. And it's super easy. Unless you're a Mac user, you've got to get your own little program first. And then I'm going to extract all. Okay. It's suggesting that we put that in the Digital Arts 1 sample and we name it sample files. So, yep, I definitely am going to do that. But yeah, I'm going to call it, I can change the name of it. I'm going to call it sample files unzipped. Okay, to tell the difference between this sample files folder and the one that I'm unzipping. And then it says to show the extracted files when complete. Heck yeah, I want to see those files. So I'm going to go ahead and click extract. And what it did is it automatically gave me that folder to Inkscape. Checkpoint. Question 1. What is the reason for zipping a file? The file is too large. Ding, ding. You want to make it smaller. You want to compress it. Question 2. What is a problem that might be caused by a file that is too large? It'll take a long time to upload. It'll take a long time to download. It will take a long time to email. It's all of the above. What utility do you use to zip a file on a Windows computer? It's called WinZip. That's what they called it in the text, WinZip, but they've changed the name to Windows Zipper, and I guess you were supposed to read their minds about that. Oh, I don't know what just happened. I, for some reason, was seeing a different screen, and then I was like, something's not right. Yeah, WinZip. There it is. I must have somehow had I don't know what just happened with that, but yeah, I didn't see those answers. WinZip is the correct answer. Okay, on what ribbon tab will you find the Extract All command button? It's probably going to be on the Share tab because I didn't go through that. So let me just check. Let's see. I'm going to have to, I'll probably have to just zip this really quick. Okay, and now it must be on the Compressed Folder Tools tab where it has Extract All. Okay, so I've never done it that way. I've always just right-clicked because it's so easy. So Compressed Folder Tools would be the correct quiz answer, wherever that quiz may have gone. Is this it? Yes. Okay, Compressed Folder Tools Extract tab would be the correct answer on that. Knowing how to use the interface and features of this course will be key to your success. In this lesson, you'll explore the course structure and learn how to troubleshoot your system and get help when you need it. Objectives: prepare for the course by previewing the course structure and key course components, explain troubleshooting and where to get help. Key vocabulary: troubleshooting, the process of identifying and solving a problem. When Joe's keyboard stopped working, he used troubleshooting skills to find and fix the problem. I'm going to skip the ditty about course structure because I probably will be creating a different structure than what comes with the course. Though we probably will visit all of the units. So we're going to have Intro to Digital Art, lines, shape, form, color, value, space, texture. What are these? Does anybody remember from art class? These are the elements of art or the elements of design. They can be used interchangeably. If we do any lessons, I will create a video and read through them just like I am with this one because I always like to know what the lessons say myself. If we do use any of the assignments or tests or projects from the class, I will post that in the directions. So even though I'm going to make this textbook accessible to you in a folder, I want you to follow my directions that I give in the videos or just in the directions that I list at the top of each folder. So something we do have to do is download the resources, and you can do that in this 1.04 folder under the closer look. And there is a little link here, and I'll also provide the link for these resources to you in the course. Okay, one of the things you can also do from here is download that Inkscape, but honestly, going to inkscape.org is going to give you the newest version, so I recommend that. They apparently are using the 32-bit, which you can do too if you want to use the same version they do. 64 works as well. So here are the course resource files. These are just some pictures, okay, that you're going to be using. So it says zip. And then it says PBL, let us get digital project files. Never seen that one. So I'm just going to go ahead and click here on course resources. And I'm not going to downloads. If yours just downloads and doesn't ask you where to save it, what you want to do is you want to Google whatever your system is, how to override download default settings in whatever browser you use. So, or how to change instead of override, how to change download default settings in Chrome. So when I do that, it pops up with open Chrome, click more under settings. So you've got these little dots, right? You can click more. Oh no, go click settings. Oh no, it says click more. I'm just going to settings. It says go to advanced at the bottom. So advanced, here we go, there's advanced. Downloads, and it says ask where to save each file before downloading. Ding, I have that on. If it's not asking you, it's off. so turn it on, okay? Every time you download, then you have the opportunity to say where you want to download it. So I'm going to click on that again. That's why it's pulling up my file explorer. And I want my resources to be in my digital arts folder. That's why we made that folder, okay? So find your digital arts folder, okay? And it says digital arts 1 folder zip. Name that thing, okay? Name it. Resources, okay? Save it, okay? And then here, I have the option to show in folder. If I say show in folder instead of just clicking on it, it'll take me to my folders and show me where it's at. It's in my Digital Arts 1 sample, but let's say yours is in your downloads. Well, then you can right click on it, copy it, get over to your Digital Arts folder, and you can right click and paste it in there. So I need to unzip it. Do you remember how to do that? Right click, extract all. Okay, I'm just going to leave it the way that it says, and I'm going to click extract, and there they are. But I'm going to go back one to the digital arts folder. I think my computer's running on a little like ding. We're going to crash right now. Okay, so unzipping those resources was a lot of work for my computer, and for a second there I thought my computer was going to crash because when I make a recording and do stuff at the same time, it uses a lot more RAM. So here's my resources, and it's actually there. Wow, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, none of the pictures are in there. How weird. This has never happened to me before. We have to figure something out with resources. We'll deal with it later. How many units are in this course? Well, this is how many units are in the K-12 textbook. We can say there's 10 if we want to just answer their quiz correctly. But I'm going to be developing the course myself, and that could be different depending on what I use and don't use. What lesson activity might give you the opportunity to try out a skill? Oh, we're not looking at that. No. Probably an on your own. What unit assignment gives you the opportunity to communicate with other students, a discussion, but we probably will not be doing a discussion. 1.05, find and cite sources. Anyone can publish anything on the internet, including misleading or false information. It is important to know how to find accurate sources on the web. In this lesson, you'll learn how to identify trustworthy sources of information. You will explain plagiarism and copyright law and describe how to properly cite a source. The objectives are to describe how to cite a source properly, explain copyright law, define plagiarism, and explain the consequences of plagiarizing. Identify trustworthy sources of information. He showed me how to use his camera. Jimmy Chin got started on a career in photography by chance. The chance was Chin climbing with a friend of his who had a camera. Watch this video to find out how the photo Chin took with his friend's camera led to a career.
My friend is going to be a photographer, and he showed me how to use his camera, and we were climbing, and I took this one shot with it, and then he tried to sell his photography, and this one company bought one photo, and it was the one that I took with his camera. And at the time, whatever I lived off of nothing, and they paid $500 for the photo, and I was like, I can live on $500 a month, easy, living out of the back of my car. I was like, I only have to take 12 photos a year, and I can live like on the road forever. One of my mentors, I love it. I mean, it's a simple idea. He's just like, commit and then figure it out, because you can't get anywhere unless you commit to something. And never think that you won't be questioning your decision when you're like doing that, because you will. I still do.
Keep going. A photo that Chin took with a borrowed camera got him started on his career path. It wasn't planned, just a chance. What about people you know? How many of them got started on their career path because something happened by chance? Find out by talking with them. Then think of your own life. What has happened to you by chance? It could a chance encounter with someone, a drawing you made, or a book you read. I don't think that was a sentence. What effect did the experience have on you? Paying attention to chance encounters can expand the possibilities you see for yourself. Vocabulary, plagiarism, the practice of stealing or passing off someone else's ideas or work as your own. If you copy a report or paper or a photo from the internet and claim it as your own, that's an example of plagiarism. Copyright, the legal right to make copies, license, and otherwise use an artistic music or literary work. So just because an image is on Google doesn't mean that you have the right to use it. Japan secured a copyright on, or Jason, on his illustration. Wiki, a website that allows visitors to make changes to its content as well as contribute new information. Wikipedia is an example of a wiki website. Intellectual property, a person's creative, artistic, or literary work that are subject to copyright law. My painting is copyrighted and therefore is part of my intellectual property. Fair use doctrine, the use of an unlimited, or excuse me, the use of a limited amount of copyrighted material in research, schoolwork, a review, or a professional publication. Sally was able to use one line of a hit song in her school essay due to the fair use doctrine. Creative Commons license, a license provided by a copyright holder that allows limited use of a copyrighted work. Example, I found a picture online that had a Creative Commons license so I could legally use it in my presentation. Citation, a reference to the source of information. Before I submitted the research paper, I added a citation for every quotation. Trustworthy information. The internet contains plenty of information. However, not everything online is accurate. It can be difficult to know which websites you can trust. We'll learn more about how to determine a website's worthiness next. Determine a website's trustworthiness. The following questions will help you decide whether a source on the web is trustworthy. Try to ask yourself these questions the next time you're reading about something online. Who is the author? The author of a website may be a person or an organization. How do you know this person is who they say they are? Is their contact information you can use to check? If not, they may be less trustworthy and you might not want to use this website. What is the website's purpose? What is the purpose of this website? Why does it exist? Is it there just to provide information, or is it intended to sell you a product or convince you to go do something? If a site is trying to convince you to buy something or do something, it may be less trustworthy. What is the domain extension? Another clue when judging a website and its information is its domain extension. Typically, edu and .org sites will be more accurate in the information they present. They are not out to sell products or services, but to present information and facts. How recently was the site uploaded? If a website isn't regularly updated, its content might be outdated or incorrect. Is the information copyrighted? Is there a copyright symbol on the page? The copyright symbol looks like this. Who holds the copyright? Does that person or organization have any motive other than providing information? If so, the website may not be trustworthy. Can you double check the information? Can you make sure the information is true in some other way? Can you check these facts against other trustworthy sources? Do other trustworthy sources say the same thing? If not, the information may not be true. Wikipedia is a popular online encyclopedia in the form of a wiki. Anyone can contribute information to it. Unfortunately, some people contribute incorrect information to Wikipedia. Other people can eventually correct inaccuracies, but there will always be some mistakes. This means Wikipedia is a great resource, but you should always double check the information against another source to make sure it's accurate. Checkpoint. Question 1, you can always trust information on Wikipedia. False. Question 2, websites that end in the domain extensions .org or .edu are more reliable. True. Plagiarism is when one person presents or represents someone else's work as his or her own. For example, if you found an article online and copy and pasted the text from it and turned it in as your own work, that would be plagiarism. This is dishonest and illegal. Disciplinary action may include a lawsuit, being fired from a job, being expelled from school, and loss of your reputation. When you work in digital arts, you may find artwork created by other people online. Passing that art off as your own is a form of plagiarism. To avoid art plagiarism, do not copy or trace someone else's work without permission and without giving the original artist credit. You will learn how to obtain permission and give credit later. Checkpoint. You are committing plagiarism if you copy 2 paragraphs from your English book and include them in your essay. True. Question 2. You cannot plagiarize artwork. False. Copyright law is the legal protection that grants the creator of an original creative work the power to determine how that work is distributed and used by others. It is one category in the larger designation of intellectual property. The other category is industrial property, which includes trademarks and patents. Copyright is automatically assigned to the original creator of the work. Most works are protected for the life of the creator plus 70 years. After that time, it is in the public domain and anyone can use it without permission. Even if a work is in the public domain, you still need to properly cite the source and cannot claim it as your own work. If someone else claims a copyrighted piece as their own or profits from its use without permission, they are infringing on the copyright, which is illegal. This can be compared to stealing someone else's work. You must have the copyright holder's permission to use copyrighted work. For example, if you download a graphic image from your favorite video game off the internet, put it on a t-shirt, and then sell the t-shirt, you are guilty of copyright infringement. As a penalty for copyright infringement, you will have to pay all profits you earned from the work to the owner, as well as additional fines. Copyright and your work. Anytime you create something, it is automatically copyrighted. You do not need to label it with a copyright symbol or your name and date. The law protects you as soon as you create the work. It even protects unpublished works. Items such as drafts, sketches, notes, and even personal recordings of practice sessions and rehearsals are protected. Some people mark their work with the copyright symbol, their name, and date. This does not make their copyright stronger or official. It is a reminder to others that their work is their own and to ask permission before using it. The U.S. Copyright Office registers copyrights for a fee. Many people register their copyright so that it is a matter of public record. A registered copyright is also required to bring a lawsuit for copyright infringement in the U.S. courts. A registered copyright is evidence used in court to help determine the owner of the copyright and settle damages. Copyright can still be revoked or overturned if there is strong evidence that the work existed before the copyright date or that someone else created the work first. Fair use doctrine. Included in copyright law is the fair use, which allows the use of copyright materials without permission for certain purposes, such as education or research. An example of this would be using a few lines of a play or passage from a book in a report or essay, or using an image of an artwork in a slideshow you're presenting to your class. Fair use also allows limited use in a few other circumstances, such as for criticism, like an art review, or for teaching. Fair use can be confusing as the courts decide what is fair on a case-by-case basis. For that reason, it is always best to obtain permission to use someone else's work and to give credit to the copyright holder. Creative Commons. You might see a Creative Commons license attached to some artwork online, such as clip art pictures. A Creative Commons license is provided by the content owner to allow others to use and share the work. Creative Commons licenses can be completely unrestricted, meaning that content can be used any way someone wants to use it. Or it can come with restrictions, such as only to be used by other artists or educational uses and not for profit. It is often provided for artwork, text, and even software code. Even if something has a Creative Commons license, you must still give credit to the copyright owner and cite the source of the work. You'll learn about that next. Question 1. You have committed copyright infringement if you download a copyrighted photo, turn it into a digital illustration, and sell it as your own work. True. Question 2. You must register a copyright with the US government for it to protect your work. False. Unless you're going to court, then you need it, right? Question 3. What part of the copyright law allows you to use a limited amount of someone else's work for educational purposes? Fair use doctrine. A citation is a reference that identifies the source of information, such as a quote or a photograph. You use citations to give credit officially to the source or owner of the work. A proper citation provides all the information a reader needs to locate the source, such as the URL of a website or title and date of a publication on his or her own. Citations are used in academic and research papers, but they should be used whenever you present someone's work, so there is no confusion about the source. For example, if you include a picture of an artwork in a presentation, you should use a citation to identify the source of the picture. Formats for citations. There are different types of citations. Employers and instructors will usually let you know which one they prefer. Here are a few different formats used for citations. APA, used in education, psychology, and science. Chicago Turabian style, used in business, history, and fine arts. And MLA, which is what you're used to using in your English classes, used in literary research and other areas of the humanities fields. MLA is popular today in education. Its citation style is structured like this: the author's last name and first name, title, publisher, date, media type, and the link to the website you got it from. Regardless of the citation style you use, you should always cite any author or artist that you are quoting or using as a source of information. This way, it will be clear that you're not representing that author's work as your own. Check with your instructor to find out which one you'd like to use. This is just fine, putting the name, the title of the work. If you just get it from a website, you could just do the name, the title of the article, the website it came from, and the link. Obtaining permission. It is usually a good idea to obtain permission to use someone's copyrighted work, even if they're a Creative Commons license. That's so grammar. Or you think it falls under the fair use doctrine. To obtain permission, you must determine who owns the copyright and then request permission in writing. If you find the work online, the website may include information about who to contact. When you request permission, state how much of the work you want to use and what you're going to do with it. For example, you might state that you want to use a photograph to illustrate a school project, or you want to incorporate a graphic design into your blog. You should specifically ask for permission as well as how to credit the source. The copyright owner should respond in one of three ways: yes, no, or yes if you pay a fee. You can then decide if you want to proceed. Just be sure not to use the work if the owner does not grant permission. You should always use MLA citation style when citing your sources. False, you can use other styles too. Question 2, a proper citation provides the information a reader needs to locate the information source on his own. True. Legally using online art. Have you ever downloaded an image you found online or shared one on social media? Did you ask the owner of the image for permission? One of the things you will explore in this activity is how to use images you find online legally. Take a few minutes to go to a clip art website. If you have Microsoft on your system, you can even use the Insert Online Pictures command to access its pictures. You can even look for pictures on Pinterest. When you get to the site, look for information about licensing and how to obtain permission to use an image. There will probably be a link for copyright information. Read the information. Who owns the image? Can you legally use an image from the site in a project for school? How about for a project you plan to sell? How can you give credit to the owner or source? If there is a permission form, download it and save it in case you need it in the future. So I'm going to show you how to find images that you can use in this class. All right. So what you're going to do is you're just going to go to Google. So you can click on images up in the top corner, and you'll know you're in Google Images because it will say it right there, and there's a little camera there. And you can just put in any topic that you want to do. So like I'll do horse. And then you click over here on tools. And when you click tools, you'll notice that you get some new menu items: size, color, usage rights, type, and time. So I do recommend that you use large sizes. That's going to get rid of some of the images so that they're big enough that you have good quality. I am going to recommend that you do labeled for non-commercial reuse with modification. So this is saying that you can take it into Inkscape, modify it, change it, do whatever you want to do with it, okay? It's not commercial because you're not selling anything, you're just doing it for school. Now, if you were wanting to do something commercially for a website where you're selling something, then you could reuse with modification, or just reuse if you were just going to use the image as is and not make any modifications to it. So we will be using labeled for non-commercial reuse with modification. Watch what happens to the number of pictures of horses after I click on that. Okay, totally changed. All right, so usually there you can find some pretty good ones. You might have to change your wording around a little bit to get exactly what you're looking for, but I'm finding great images. I can click on one of these, and when I do, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and go right to the site so I can show you where you can find that usage information. Okay, so was this the picture I was looking at? I don't even remember. Wasn't that one? Find your picture. Shoot, I don't even remember which picture I was looking at. Was it this one? Yeah, that was the one. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. And when I click on the image itself, then you'll notice I'm using my scroll button in the middle, and it's popping it up and it's saying Creative Commons. And it says it's Mike Ortega with a retouch by Richard Bartz. The original file's there. This is the retouched image. So notice that they're giving credit to who took the photo, who retouched it. More details here. I'm going to click right here on the license type. So this is Creative Commons by SA 2.0. Let's see what that is. So that means you are free to share, copy, and redistribute the material in any medium or format, adapt, remix, transform, and build upon it for any purpose, even commercially. The licensor cannot revoke these freedoms as long as you follow these license terms. under the following terms. Attribution, you must give appropriate credit, provide the link to the license, and indicate if any changes were made. Share alike. If you remix, transform, or build upon the material, you must distribute your contributions under the same license as the original. No additional restrictions. You may not apply legal terms or technological measures that legally restrict others from doing anything the license permits. You do not have to comply with the license. All right, so there we go. That tells you about the license. Basically, we're going to be finding our images that way, and we're just going to use them. You can click on there, and just for the sake of this class, yeah, get the person's name and just get the link where that image comes from. How does that sound? So you're going to have to find your specific image. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Okay. And then maybe take a link, ding, copy that link and save that. Okay. You can turn that in to the Dropbox after you submit an image. You can submit the link where it came from in the comments box that appears after you upload an attachment. Summary: in this lesson, you identified trustworthy sources of information, described plagiarism and copyright law, described how to cite a source properly. All right, we finally finished Unit 1. Here's the summary of the whole unit. In this unit, you described computer requirements, moved through the course and switched between windows, identified different operating systems and found files and folders on a computer, set up a computer to show the list folder view and file name extensions, made a course folder, set up your web browser, identified reasons for zipping and unzipping files, learned how to zip and unzip, identified the course structure, explained troubleshooting and explained where to get help, identified trustworthy sources of information, explained plagiarism, copyright law, and how to cite a source properly. All right, let's take the Unit 1 test. Okay, number 1, what are computer requirements? Sheesh. How about hardware and software components? I mean, yeah, the other things are nice. Question 2. What is a common open source software operating system? Do you remember? Linux. That means that people can come in and change the code, right? Question 3. Where on a Windows screen do buttons for each open window display? On the taskbar. Question 4. In Windows 10, what is the name of a program you can use to find a file or folder? File Explorer. Question 5. In File Explorer, what is the command to change the folder view to list? View list. Question 6. Where is the file name extensions checkbox in File Explorer? In the Show Hide group. Remember that one? File extensions over here in Show Hide. Question 7. In Windows 10, what is the name of a program you can use to make a course folder? File Explorer. Question 8. What URL or web address must your browser allow to display pop-ups in order for the course to run properly? That's a good question. Did I miss that one? All right, so I think it means specifically from K12.com. It says that you will have to allow pop-ups from the K12.com website. And then down here, when it's giving you those instructions that we talked about, you can go learning.k12.com. Generally, as soon as a pop-up has been blocked, you're going to get like a yellow bar up here that it's going to say, do you want to allow pop-ups from k12.com? And you're going to be like, ding, click yes. And then you remember you always have to refresh the page, or remember that you've got this right here where you can click allow. All right. Um, so you can do this, but usually your computer like alerts you and helps you do it. So the correct answer would be learning.k12.com on here. And that's just for the K-12 website. That's what's kind of quirky about that question. What is a reason for zipping files? Okay, to combine multiple file types into one file? No. To return them to original size? No. To encrypt them? No. So they display, no. Combine multiple files into one folder. It's going to put it in a folder. I just don't like the way that that's worded. It's going to combine multiple files. I don't know. I guess that's the answer. Not crazy about the wording though. Question 10. What is a reason for unzipping files? So they display properly on a web page to encrypt, to return them to their original size. That's the answer, to return them to their original size. Let me click the button on this one up here. This one was to combine multiple files into one. In File Explorer, how can you quickly unzip a file? Well, I can do right click and extract. Move it to the unzip folder. Okay, right click, share. That doesn't unzip it, that shares it. Sorry. How can you unzip a file? Double click it, move it to an unzip folder. What? Double click it, that just opens it, it doesn't unzip it. I think that will take it to compressed folder tools, which is where you need to be to extract it. So maybe that's why it's saying to double click it. Okay, and then extract. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in there, and I believe that's the extracted folder. And then I just always delete the zipped version, but there was nothing in there. Okay, so yeah, I'm guessing double click. Move it to the unzip folder. What? All right, I just checked and it's giving the answer double click it. Of course, that's not going to unzip it. You have to actually extract it at that point, right? Okay, hope we're all clear on that. Question 12. What lesson activity is often a video? Choose the answer. Oh, brother. Okay, that's going to be making connections. So, I mean, really, in the grand scheme of life, is that going to help you to reach and accomplish your goals answering that question? Ah! What type of questions are in a unit quiz? Multiple choice. Yeah, multiple choice. Where will you find the discussion prompts for the course? Within the lessons on the discussion board. We probably won't use them. What is troubleshooting? Identifying and solving a problem. 16. What is a way to get help for a computer system problem? You could online chat with customer support. You could post a question to an online user's forum. You could search an online help manual. You could Google. You could YouTube. All of the above. What is a question to ask when determining if a source of information is trustworthy? Does my friend like the website? Do I agree with the information? No. Who is the author? What color? Yeah, who's the author? Is it a credible source? Question 18. What is an example of plagiarism? Using a famous picture as a report cover with a picture, title, artist, and date in the corner. Creating artwork inspired by a real life event. Writing a research report. Or using a famous picture as your own. Yeah, that's the one right there. That's plagiarism. Question 19. What does copyright law protect? A novel, a symphony, a painting? Heck yes, all of the above. That's your intellectual property. What does a proper citation include? Information the reader can use to find the source. And that ends Unit 1. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. That was very long, and I know it was dry, but you made it, and you've got those fundamental skills now. You know the basics of computers, and that was the goal. You accomplished it, and it took you less than 2 hours. In addition, you got a perfect score on all of your checkpoints. You got a perfect score on your test. What more could you ask? Oh, and you downloaded Inkscape and you unzipped the resources, and there weren't any. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But thanks so much for your attention to detail.